Hey guys, I'm Ash from Training and Inspection Services, and we provide self-paced e-learning courses in preparation for API Individual Certification Program. These are 510, 570, 571, 577, 580 Respace Inspection, 653, 1169 Source Inspector Fixed and Rotating Equipment. For each exam, we have two packages for you: the full course and the mock exam package, as you can see here. The full course is a detailed explanation of all the body of knowledge and publication effectivity sheet, whereas the mock exam is the flashcard and the mock exam questions package, as the name suggests. So let's go to API 580 Respace Inspection and see what it has for you. If you go to curriculum, you can see that it's got basic facts, so exam tips, registration, time management, and there's a benchmark quiz that we are going to solve today, and it's available to all for free. Body of knowledge, exam tips, scope and references, concepts and introduction, planning, data collection, damage mechanism, probability of failure, consequence of failure, and risk management and mitigation, reassessment and responsibilities, and then record keeping and summary of pitfalls. And you have 5 sets of flashcards plus 6 sets of mock exam questions. So if you go to course overview, you can see that what you get in a nutshell. You get 3 hours of video, 5 sets of flashcards, 10 lessons, and over 500 questions. So far we didn't have any candidate who failed, but in case you failed, you have two options with us: either request us to give you another 4 months for free course access, or ask for a full refund, no question asked. This course comes with 120 days 24/7 course access and online support. And here is a description of what the course is about and what each module is talking about. Plus you can have our course content, have a look at it. And if you want just a mock exam question, it has 500 questions, 5 sets of flashcards, and 1 hour of video clips. So let's go and solve some sample quiz, which is free for all to try. As you can see, we have next, previous button here. You can see the answer and you can review the results at the end. We have a flag off here that if you flag off, it turns red, so you can come back to it later. The number of questions you are attempting, and here we have a percentage of your progress, but all our mock exam questions are timed as per API time frame. So question 1, what are the most common types of probability of failure analysis? Is semi-quantitative, because this qualitative and quantitative are two spectrum of RBI, and normally you do a combination of them. Detailed information and data is needed for a quantitative RBI in order to make use of logic and physical models. So quantitative is always logic and physical models. So facts and figures and numbers, really. Which one of the following is not an example of invasive inspection that can cause deterioration? So you can see corrosion under insulation inspection. You might be eventually remove the corrosion to see the insulation to see under it. Removal of passivating film is the same thing. It's invasive. You have to remove the passivation film. Internal inspection of glass lined vessels or any vessel, still you need to open up the vessel, so it's invasive. The only one is external inspection. It's a non-invasive type of inspection. Risk-based inspection reassessment is not necessarily needed when installing mitigating device. Why? Because when you change from internal to on-stream inspection, you are changing the data input. So you need to reassess and see that with the new data input data, what is the result, because your RBI is based on some input data eventually. More aggressive feedstock introduced, so you have changed the there is a danger of higher corrosion rate than anticipated, so still you need to reassess and see how it affects your risk-based inspection. Deterioration rate increases, it's the same thing, so you need to reassess. But when you do install mitigating devices, you're actually improving the reliability of the equipment. So here, your risk-based inspection, which was initially assessed, is more conservative, so you don't need to reassess. Documented mitigation plan includes all except completion date. The completion date comes with a schedule that you actually do the mitigation plan. The QA/QC is there, the proposed repair method is there, the NDE method used to detect deterioration should be there, based on the expected type of deterioration and their sizing. What are the minimum qualification for contractor personnel implementing RBI? So because the client or the end user or the operator or the owner user is ultimately responsible, so there is no strict requirement on this, that who should be implementing it. It's just that it's a common sense that the owner user should have a program of training demonstrating that their personnel are suitably qualified and experienced. So it's just common sense. RBI assessment type is selected on the basis of expected evaluated risk. So the type of assessment is that what you are going to expect, or how you evaluated the risk. Which failure is distinct loss of containment? Obviously, column flooding is that because it's over flooding and you have a loss of containment. Now, loss of catalytic reactivity may eventually lead to that, but actually it doesn't. At the time of losing the catalytic reactivity, you don't have a loss of containment or process following the same thing. If the process is folded fluid or heat exchanger bundle failure, which is inside the heat exchanger, so you don't have a leak. The leak is internal. RBI reassessment is conducted primarily improving operating reliability. So practically everything you want to do is to improve reliability. I'm not sure about this answer. Let's use this button and see what is actually the right answer here. So, okay, determine the effect of changes on deterioration. Reassessment, sorry. Because I say reassessment, so if there is any changes on deterioration, you want to see the effect. So that is the correct answer. RBI plans to serve as a substitute for half-life inspection. You see 510, 570, 653, they all these codes, they refer to RBI. And they allow RBI to happen. But they are not, RBI is not a substitute for hazard operability analysis, reliability center maintenance, or process hazard analysis, because the intention of RBI and the scope of RBI is different. RBI complements these methods, but it does not substitute them. But it can substitute half-life inspection as per API 510, 570, 653 codes. In an RBI, who has primary responsibility? So it's the management. The responsibility is always with the management, because even you have best of team but don't have the management doesn't facilitate performing the RBI, then you can't have a realistic RBI. When units are screened, the most important input is relative risk of process units. So it's always about relative risk. There is always risk on different types of risks, but on RBI we are looking for the highest risk actually. So we prioritize risk. That's what it is about. Probability of failure analysis should address cause of failure such as operator error, PMI, frequencies, design flaws. The RBI does not consider design flaws or any operator error or human error. only the deterioration mechanism most likely to cause failure. So we go for the weakest link in a chain. The aspect of risk assessment common to most types and level of RBI are expert opinion. No, whether quantitative or qualitative, you always use expert opinion up to some degree. On quantitative, you use less expert opinion, but on qualitative, you use more. Rely heavily on expert opinion anyway. Which of the following statements is correct with regard to RBI sensitivity? So it ignores all variables except those having the largest overall influence on the risk. Use each variable influence on the risk calculation to determine its significance. That's what it is. So um, probability of failure and consequence of failure, their multiplication becomes risk, so you can find their significance really. RBI emphasizes safe and reliable operation through risk prioritized inspection. So always keep that in mind. Ultimately, RBI should correlate the risk with inspection. Again, it's called risk-based inspection, so you should always, you're trying to find the highest risk and divert your inspection efforts towards that area rather than less risky areas. So RBI assessment should be able to prioritize inspection based on the risk involved, generate an inspection plan. This is a major output of the RBI assessment. RBI flags of major risk drivers, yes, so it's all of the above. Remember, API never asks you all of the above, none of the above, both A and B and etc. There would be only a single correct answer. How does the ISO risk line help with inspection planning? It improves the understanding of equipment relative risk. So practically, it's a risk is a multiplication of probability and consequence of failure. So some failure, the probability might be very low, but the consequence can be high, whereas some um, risk where the probability is high, but the consequence is low, like utility piping and all that. So even if it leaks, so what? It's not going to create major damage. So eventually you have to look at the relative risk, not a single elements of the risk. When equipment has deteriorated to such an extent that the risk of failure can't be managed to an acceptable level, the only way to mitigate risk is repair it. Because whatever you do, still you're not going to get more life out of that equipment. So the best thing is to repair it. So RBI is not a solution for everything. Now, if you click on this, it says, do you still want, because you flagged off the question, you say yes. If you want to see the result, and the result comes. So we had 19 points here, and remember we made a mistakes there, and everything we answered is in blue, and the tick is a correct answer in green. So here RBI reassessment is conducted primarily to determine the effect of changes on the iteration. So when you do reassessment, so you miss this. Thank you guys for watching. You please visit our website and study our first module for free, inspectortraining.com.